We will go into our first round of public forum debate. Proposition of today's debate is that at least 50% of education should be done through online learning under normal circumstances for secondary schools in Taiwan. For debaters, the rules of your timing for your constructive speech, summary, and final focus are as follows. When the time is up, you'll hear time's up from me. When it's 30 seconds into extension, all right? So you'll hear the time's up from the judge, and upon hearing that, you have to stop your speech or you will be muted. All right. Rules for timing and crossfire are as follows. When we say time's up, it's up, and you will have to stop your crossfire. Or I will keep saying time, as I've done on all three regionals. Each team needs to provide evidence cards for crossfire. By this time, you should know that anyone with link can view has to be the default setting for all your evidence cards. All right. Last but not least, whenever you finish your speech, mute yourself. And after your speech, before you begin your speech, you unmute yourself, right? As it has been in the past three regionals, that is consistent with what it is right now. If I'm looking to this side, it means that I'm looking at you. If I'm looking down a little bit, it means I'm looking at the evidence card. If I'm looking down, it means I'm looking at my iPad and I'm writing notes. If I'm looking to this side, it would mean that I am looking at my multi-timer. If I'm looking at any other direction of those things that I've mentioned, that would mean that my cat has decided to do something weird. However, because of the fact that you are on Bluetooth speaker on my side, that would mean that no matter where I am in my room, I will be listening to your debate. So do not worry about that. If there are no questions at this point in time, then we will start the debate with a mental countdown of 5, 4, 3, and 1. Whew. All right. Pro side, constructive speech, 4 minutes, begin when ready.
Honorable judges and fellow debaters, the resolution is that at least 50% of education should be done through online learning under circumstances for secondary schools in Taiwan. Online learning is defined as learning that takes place partially or entirely over the internet. Secondary schools are institutions between primary and tertiary education based on the National Academy for Educational Research. Under normal circumstances refers to non-emergency situations where schools are open and in-person instruction remains a viable option. Here are 4 reasons why we support the resolution. First, online learning offers students easier access to lifelong learners. Game-based learning is a great way to integrate technology into the students' learning. According to a study from National Zhengzhi University, there was a significant improvement in junior high school students' vocabulary learning via online games. The students developed their own learning and gaming strategies when facing problems. In addition, online learning makes students become comprehensive learners. They fully understand what they learn with the help of internet resources. As we can see in a study from National Pingtung University of Education, a class of high school students took physics courses with the e-learning management system. The results confirmed students' learning motivation increased and their learning outcomes improved. For example, when learning the Doppler effect, students can feel the change in sound frequency through animation. With a motivating learning environment and considerable learning resources, students develop intelligence in problem-solving processes and foster lifelong learning habits in their life.
Second, online learning can flourish the relationship between students and teachers. Based on the study done by National Yat-sen University, during online learning, teachers don't impart knowledge in one-way communication anymore. Instead, teachers diversify their teaching strategies with multiple online educational resources. After all, different students prefer different learning styles, and they develop their own one with approachable teachers while learning online. Then a close and supportive relationship between teachers and students makes students engage in a highly customized, personalized learning environment. Third, online learning provides students with flexibility in knowledge, space, and time management. Students' learning patterns are no longer limited to the traditional fixed format of classroom, classmates, and time. According to the study conducted by Zhonghua University on how digital technology improves students' learning in mathematics, it has become a modern teaching trend to use various teaching systems and network platforms to improve the quality of teaching and enrich the teaching content. Furthermore, students can engage in discussions with other participants through the internet anytime or share their learning experiences and achievements with others. The interaction of groups in the online community enhances the level of thinking about learning and promotes individual participation and identity in society. Fourth, online learning provides a synchronous environment for students and teachers. In this environment, students do not have to be online at the same time and have plenty of time to think and express themselves on the topic, allowing students to learn at their own pace. According to the study done by National Taiwan Normal University, 52.4% of the students who participated in the online asynchronous interaction felt that online learning provided them with the opportunity to be more active in their courses. Thus, in an asynchronous online learning environment, students are able to arrange their learning progress by themselves while becoming more active and motivated during online learning. All considered, we definitely support that at least 50% of education should be done through online learning under normal circumstances for secondary schools in Taiwan. Thank you.
Time. Conside. Constructive speech, 4 minutes, begin when ready.
Honorable judges and fellow debaters, today we the concise strongly oppose the at least 50% of education should be done through online learning under normal circumstances for secondary school in Taiwan. We approach the motion with 3 contentions. Contention 1, excessive online learning is not good for the psychological development of students in secondary schools. Most of the evidence on the growth of the online learning market reflects college or adult education. However, our debate focuses on students for secondary school. Eric Humberger Erickson, the world-renowned psychologist, said that there are 8 psychosocial stages in our human's life. Adolescence falls in the 5th psychosocial stage. According to Erickson, teenager main task is to ask who I am and what I want to accomplish. Those who receive teachers' guidance and peer approval will have a healthy personality that can be more resilient in coping with challenges. On the other hand, those who fail to pass the psychological crisis that emerge in a phase will experience a role confusion and develop a weak sense of self. The quest for the cognitive knowledge that the procyclan falls in the 5th category according to the hierarchy of human psychological needs proposed by the Abraham Maslow. However, the lower level of needs must be fulfilled first before students focus on the academic pursuit. Coming to school can satisfy the lower 4 needs. It is especially true for the junior high school student because they are at the start of the puberty where primary and secondary sex characteristics first appear. Furthermore, the number of schools in junior high is more than that of senior high.
Contention 2. The teachers in secondary school are capable of technology integration. According to many dictionary definitions, education needs both efforts of students and instructors. However, instructors in Taiwan have not been ready to jump from the status quo to over 50% of online learning. According to the reports of TALIS, only less than a quarter of senior high school teachers in Taiwan can frequently integrate digital technology in class. In junior high school, the ratio is even lower than 15%. In Ellie Alamir's paper, there are 3 levels of online learning integration: low, medium, and high impact. The difference depends on use intensity. At least 50% of online learning belongs to high impact integration. Going straight to high impact blend is risky and can result in unsuccessful learning outcome. According to an education courses at Rutgers University, if not receiving proper training, teacher might assign much more content or homework than in-class credits hours should require. The backlash is called course and half syndrome. Professor Zhu from Dong University also affirmed course and half syndrome in his survey. Therefore, the success of online learning is sure to be compromised when teachers are not ready. Contention 3. Vocational school needs hands-on experience and do not feed online learning. Vocational school, junior colleges, or comprehensive senior high schools heavily depend on hands-on experience. Students need instructors from feedback when are encountering operational difficulties. According to MOE statistics, their school numbers need exceeds ordinary senior high. In this sense, the pro-side will have difficulties reaching the requirement of at least 50% of online education. There are 2 impacts. 1, research in science education shows that the practical experience is high correlated to students' learning motivation. 2, according to one OECD survey done by Hanushek, the absence of hands-on operation for 1/3 of the year will lead to 3% lower income and an average of 1.5% lower annual GDP as students go into the workforce. Hanushek was awarded Edan Prize, the world's highest educational prize. For the 3 reasons above, we the negative strongly oppose the resolution. And that's our constructive speech. Thank you.
Okay. There was around 20 seconds left on the clock. Prep time starts now. Time. First crossfire. Begin when ready.
Greeting. So I think it's your pro side have to ask question first.
Is online learning a good way for students to study on their own way and have the opportunity to become more independent?
Actually within this is student can learn student can learn with online learning that they can learn their own pace, but that's not the most of the student. And I have a question is that do you know how much homework or the video you had mentioned should a teacher assign online to the students?
Excuse me?
I mean, do your teacher have considered how much homework do teacher have to assign to the student?
Though in Taiwan, students have a lot of homework or report to do, but the main purpose of education is to deliver knowledge instead of just focusing on homework reports. The main purpose of education is to deliver knowledge and make
Okay, I
students
understand.
understand a particular knowledge.
Okay, thank you.
And do you have the evidence card that provides students online learning may cause students have this kind of role confusion?
Oh, okay, my teammate will give. And next, I have a question is that how does the teacher run his online learning courses to reach the goal, like you said, over 50% in your speech? Sure.
Students can use different platforms such as Junyi, Kahoot, and so on, that they can truly benefit students and make them learn more and get more access from them.
Okay, thank you.
And isn't it a platform that, do you know Junyi Academic?
Actually not.
Okay, thank you.
And could you give, you mentioned in your third contention the flexibility, and you mentioned the Zhonghua University. Could you give us the evidence?
Of course.
Thank you.
And do you have the evidence that provide excessive information may cause students psychological problem?
Okay, my teammate will give. And I have a last question is that in your contention, you had mentioned that with online learning, a teacher have the diversity to teach student and student can have a better learning outcome. So does that mean we have to catch on a global trend?
For secondary schools, it's very essential for us to catch the
Time.
global trend.
Time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Prep time starts now. 2 minutes. Time. Pro rebuttal speech. 4 minutes. Begin when ready.
First, when we ask our opponent, is an online learning a good way for students to study in their own way and have the opportunity to become more independent? They say yes. However, it's not all of the students can learn how to be independent. However, it is important right now for us to learn how to become independent because of the 108 curriculum education systems. Second, our opponent mentioned that with online learning, vocational school students will be a lack of practicing. However, according to the analysis of vocational teachers, in traditional vocational schools, there's only 20% of practical courses in first year and 40% in second year. Then if we take those academic knowledge courses online during the time that aren't in practical time, there won't be any problems about lack of hands-on practices. In addition, 50% of academic education is done online. Students may have a variety of access to learn. For instance, online platforms provide many teaching videos and different learning platforms. Moreover, vocational school students can also use the combination of online and physical education to invite international experts and celebrities to give lectures so that students can develop an international perspective while learning about the world's market trends and industry development. Third, our opponent mentions that junior high school students need the guidance of teachers. However, our resolution is that at least 50% of education should be done through online under normal circumstances. That means students still can go to school. And if they still can go to school, they can still be leading by the teachers. Therefore, there won't be any problems about the junior high school students won't be not able to be guided by the teachers.
And the fourth, regarding our opponents mentioned, the contention regarding identity and the role confusion. And in their evidence card, it is mentioned that our sense of personal identity is shaped by our experiences and interaction with others. And it is this identity that helps guide our actions, beliefs, and behaviors as we age. So as a teenage student, I totally agree with this. However, this contents of this contention totally reach to our resolution today. And our resolution today is that 50% of education should be done through online learning under normal circumstances for secondary schools in Taiwan. So there are 50% of virtual classes and 50% of practical classes. Therefore, in the practical classes, we have our teachers to guide students to help us to understand how to understand a particular knowledge. And through the online information, various information on the internet, we will increase our experiences. Perhaps we can use the information, use some resources to interact with experts online and discuss with a particular topics and motivate us with a particular realm, which can increase our experience. And our opponents mentioned that excessive information also causes the students to have a major problem in the role confusion. But we totally disagree with that because internet information, thus we disagree with the online learning. Thus we agree with the online learning.
Okay. Kansai rebuttal speech, 4 minutes, begin when ready.
Greetings. There are a few points I would like to refute our opponents. And first, their contentions do not fit teenagers' psychological developments. And also, they're making hasty generalization because our opponents say that online learning is flexible, and they can study at their own pace. They have more active and motivated. But however, the advantages are only open to those with strong learning motivation. Pursuing knowledge falls in the fifth level, which is cognitive needs in Maslow theory. But teenagers who are thirsty for cognitive needs are a small percentage. This teenager cannot represent 1.172 secondary schools, according to MOE statistics. Therefore, we think it's hasty generalization. Also, the priority for teenagers, especially in junior highs, is to hang out with peers and learn for the model adults. In terms of the numbers of schools, junior high outweighs of senior high. Therefore, we think 50% of online learning cannot be achieved. And second, they don't know the impact when teachers are not ready. And during the class, we ask them how much homework teachers should give students online. And their answer is that teachers have duty to have make homework to our students because they didn't think the impact of teachers are not familiar with online learning. They may overburden students. And we have the studies showing that inexperienced teachers will give students too much cognitive burden when they are switched to online classes. And the disadvantage is course and half syndrome. And their average ratio for teachers in secondary school in OECD survey is to frequently use technology integration at 60%. However, according to TALIS reports, the technological integration for Taiwan's teachers is way below that. Therefore, we disagree that online learning directly jump over 50%.
And third, that our opponent had mentioned as a teammate, they had talked about with online learning, students can learn at their own pace. However, we don't think that it's important. We don't think they didn't think how important physical interaction is for the learning. According to Erickson's psychological development, the stage of the adolescence should be guided by the model teacher and supported by the friends. And also, according to Randy Garrison, professor emerit at the University of Calgary, category that learning is in isolation, drop learning motivation, and do not help the support critical thinking and creative thinking. So, and many influence educators have, like Vygotsky or Bandura, also advocate that learning is extremely hindered when the student studied slowly. Therefore, we think this is a link turn. And also that in their rebuttal speech, they had mentioned that they had agreed that the online will make students have the role confusion. However, in the last their rebuttal speech, they have the opposite of the answer, that they don't they totally don't disagree. They totally disagree with the confusion. So we think they have now a certain answer. So we think this condition is not trustworthy. And also they had mentioned that next I want to talk about for the reason above. Sorry. And next, the most effective communication is face-to-face because of the body language. That the pros I have claimed that it's important to they say they because of going to school, so one lack of the hands-on experience and the interaction. However, the none of the communication online can be compared with a physical communication. Like Albert Mehrabian that found that oral language is about 7% effective, and most of the communication depends on the vocal language.
Time's up.
Depends on. Thank you.
Okay, preparation time starts now. Time. Second crossfire, begin when ready.
Do you agree that with at least 50% of education done online, that means students can still be guided by teachers?
Actually, our pardon, can you rephrase your?
Do you agree that with at least 50% of education done online, that junior high school students or most of the students still can be guided by the teachers?
If actually we so we think that we have mentioned that teenager is a second student, and they need the psychological. It's important for them. It's important that the psychological development for them, and if your side will go to school, and then the teacher will guide them. And also we also think that the students' peer approval is also important. And I have a question. Thank you. And I have a question. Is online learning? You had mentioned in your constructed speech that student can learn with online learning like the time management and at their own pace. So do you think that online learning is the only way for them to learn time management?
Though it may not be the only way, however, it surely provides more access for them to learn about that.
Okay, thank you.
And in your evidence cards about the importance of teachers and peers, isn't the author a foreigner?
Yes,
May I ask the follow questions?
yes.
And do you think the situation in this evidence card can also reach in Taiwan?
Actually, we think that because even we are the different countries, that our main goal is to have the student have the better learning outcome. So we think this foreign evidence can apply to the Taiwan because our main goal is the same. So we think this can apply.
Thank you.
And as the first crossfire, our teammates ask you the word trend, and do you think that it is important we should follow the mainstream?
We have to clarify that following the world trend doesn't mean following the mainstream, because mainstream is a topic with popularity. However, when we are following the world trend, it means we got various resources on the internet, and we can use these resources.
Time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cut time, 2 minutes begins now. Time. Pro summary. 3 minutes. Begin when ready.
First, when we ask our opponent, do you agree that at least 50% of online learning students can also be guided by the teachers? They said yes, they can also be guided by the teachers. That means students can not only have the opportunity to learn by themselves, become more independent, but also be guided by teachers and not to lose the direction of learning. Isn't it a win-win way for students to take both the benefits? Moreover, in the current situation, students' autonomy of self-regulation of learning are far more essential than merely acquiring knowledge from classes, because secondary schools is a stage when students go on to the university or enter society. And it is important to develop independence and autonomy. That is, after leaving school. What we're going to face is not a society Modernizations and globalizations have led to a constant changes in information and knowledge, forcing all people to accelerate their pace to keep up with social development. The importance of students' autonomy has become more important than instructor support and supervision. In this social trend, with more than 50% of education done online, students may rely too heavily on teachers because getting answers directly from them is the faster and easiest ways. Second, our opponent just mentioned that in their rebuttal part, students may not be able to hang out with their peers if we take at least 50% of online learning. However, our resolution is at least 50%. That means we still can go to school, we still can communicate with our peers. Therefore, there won't be any problems with this.
And the third, our opponents mentioned that the overwhelming information may lead to students' cognitive overhead. So as human beings, our working memories, no matter long-term or short-term, are too limited to bear such a tremendous amount of information. However, through online learning and the internet, complexity is totally a minor problem if we utilize the flexibility as a turning point to avoid them to have this kind of physical problem, mental problems, okay? So there are many ways to get rid of the potential problems of poor design courses and the complexity of learning. For instance, teachers can design courses with open-ended questions and allow students to express their thinking practices in creative ways or through various resources on the internet. Alternatively, using the combination of animation and clear course structure instead of these continuous word contents to make students understand information and they acquire more easily without losing their way. With the flexible use of multiple technological methods, instructions are definitely capable of preparing better.
Finish your sentence. What was the last sentence?
That's the last sentence. Thank you.
Okay. On side, summary, 3 minutes, begin when ready.
Greetings. There are a few points I would like to refute our opponents. And during the crossfire, we asked them, is that online learning is the world trend? And their answers is seem that we should follow the world trend, and because we shouldn't appeal the herd, because OECD country that, and during our contention, we mentioned that OECD's country can use 60% of teacher in online learning. However, only according to TALIS, only 25% of senior high schools and 15% of junior high schools have teachers use the online learning, and so we shouldn't. So we think that we shouldn't appeal the herd. And also, our opponents mentioned that if they still need to go to school, so they don't have the mental problem, and they have enough instructor support. However, we think that it's not enough because during our contention, we mentioned that teenagers is at the outside of puberty, so we need more and more interaction for the students. And so if there's don't enough the
next
Unmute yourself, thank you.
I'm sorry. So next, I want to defend our contentions that during their summary speech, they had mentioned that because of the many information that students can digest. However, but that's not in our constructive speech, also in the rebuttal speech. So we think they didn't clearly know our conditions, so they misunderstood us. And next, I want to defend the attack in their summary speech. So they have talked that because of the diverse way that online learning can use, so teacher can assign the homework. But however, during the first crossfire, we had to ask our opponent to how to assign the homework to the student because and their answer didn't not quite good for the question. So because of maybe teachers don't know how to apply online learning, so maybe we'll give extra homework to the student and it will overburden to the student. So we think their teacher can apply online learning is not trustworthy. And also, and lastly, they had mentioned during a rebuttal and summary speech, they didn't rebuttal our third contention, which is the impact of hands-on experience. So in the conclusion, for the reason above, we strongly oppose the resolution. Thank you.
Okay. Time begins now. Time.
Can students still communicate with their peers with online platforms?
If your device is stable and won't have a problem, then we think you can communicate. And I have a question: is that your contention you have focused on because online learning can make students have self-learning. So do the teacher play an important role when they are doing online learning?
We agree that in this 50% of online education system, the autonomy of students and the guidance of teachers are both important. And 50% of online learning can definitely reach this point because under 50% of education, teachers can guide their students and point out their blind points directly. And in 50% of education, students can.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
I understand.
can learn themselves. Okay, so I got a question to ask. Do you agree that the society is changing so fast that upon the previous trend comes and the latter trend just comes right away?
So as you say, we agree that the society has changed so fast, but our education is for the student better learning outcome, and we have focuses on because of the psychological development. It's important to the teenagers. So if that can benefit the students, so we think we can apply.
And can you explain why schools still use traditional learning?
Because just like we just said that teachers is also important for students. However, if we take at least 50% of education, that means students will have the opportunity to learn by themselves and also be guided by the teachers. And
Thank you.
Is there any digital device at school?
Yes, we have because yes, we have. Yeah.
May I ask the follow-up questions?
Yes.
Can we say that online learning will also happen in the real classroom?
Pardon?
Can we also say that online learning will also happen in the real classroom?
Actually, our concept also apply the online learning into the classes, but we are opposed that the drastic changes to the 50% or even more. We are opposed that, not opposed the online technology.
Thank you.
And I have a question: is that in your rebuttal speech you have mentioned about hands-on experience, like statistic 40% and 40% in second year and 20% about kind of. So can you provide the evidence about that?
Yes, we have the evidence.
Thank you.
Time. Prep time starts now. Time. Pro, final focus. 2 minutes. Make every second count. Thank you.
50% of education has its necessity to be done through online learning for secondary schools in Taiwan. First, teachers could diversify their teaching strategies with multiple online educational resources. At the same time, students can develop their own learning styles with approachable teachers while learning online. It indeed makes students become more active in class and increase their interest in learning. Second, online learning provides students with both synchronous and asynchronous environment. Students not only have the flexibility to watch the videos over and over again through numerous online teaching platforms anytime and anywhere, but they can also discuss their questions with peers, teachers, or experts via the internet in real time and get immediate answers. Third, with at least 50% of education online under normal circumstances, students can still go to school and discuss with their peers. Moreover, during online learning, students can still communicate with others through online platforms. Therefore, there may not be any problems about the lack of communication of students.
Fourth, we agree that education, the purpose of education is to make students have better learning outcomes and deliver knowledge. And lifelong learners' habits reveal another possibility for us to make students have better outcomes as well. What we need is an education model that fosters lifelong learning habits in our students, and online learning fulfills the condition completely. First, online learning allows students to evolve from passive recipients of knowledge to active participants with autonomy. Students can study at personal pace or demand without merely relying on teachers' guidance. Important, instead of just following the guidance of teachers, students can retrain their ability of information ability themselves. Therefore, with the above mentioned, we strongly affirm that at least 50% of education should be done through online learning under normal circumstances for secondary schools in Taiwan. Thank you.
On-side, final focus. 2 minutes, begin when ready.
Greetings. Now, I'd like to give fundamental and resources why Kansai should take the debate. And there are three components in education. First, students, and second, teachers. And third, the courses. Our contentions can prove that in these three aspects, 50% of online learning is impossible to be reached. And our first contention is that online learning is not good for teenager psychological developments. And our opponents say that use online learning have flexible, and students can develop their own learning ability, and they can watch videos again and again. However, adolescence is a crucial psychosocial stage in human life. If teenagers cannot receive enough emotional support, they'll give fall to past the mental crisis and that emerge in the face. It is especially true for junior high school students, and therefore it's impossible to promote from the 50% of online learning. And we think the priority first is to satisfy the basic need there rather than pursue the cognitive needs.
And our second contention is that teachers are key to the educational changes. That during the crossfire, we had asked our opponent that is it a key teacher key to the education, and their answer is yes. And also that also we had during the first crossfire, we asked opponent whether teacher have assigned a limit of assigned of homework. However, they didn't have the actual answer. And if the teacher are used traditional online learning problem, that the traditional problem will arise is the course and half syndrome. Therefore, jump to the more than 50% can lead to the frustration and both the teacher and the student. And our third contention is that a vocational school needs hands-on experiences. So during the last crossfire, we asked our opponent to give the evidence about the hands-on experience of 40% and 20%. But since until now they didn't give any evidence, so we think they didn't rebut this contention. And lastly, I want to mention that in final focus that I mentioned that online learning can teacher have diversity teachers and education can have better learning outcome. But I want to say that I want to reiterate that they didn't know how to assign the homework, so it will cause half course and half syndrome.
Time's up.
So with the resolution we mentioned, we Kansai strongly oppose the resolution. Thank you.
Overtime, 16 seconds. That concludes the debate for now. We will move into our breakout rooms. So do whatever you want to do in this room. Judges, do not move. I will be moving you.
Hi.
What's up?
Oh, yo, man, bro. I have a question. Because we have done a debate, right? So I have a question. Is that because you have
Yeah.
mentioned in your constructive speech that you will go
Okay.
to school 5 days, right?
What?
要不然你们的政策是什么？
证据吧。
讲错，我的意思是说，就是你们用 online learning 对不对？那你们的是全5天都去学校用 online learning，还是说会回家之类的？
50%的话，50，
他没有规定说，就是没有不一定一定要回家，就是你也可以在
对啊
学校，然后
Yes,
用
I
平
I
板
know.
上
So
课。
you can design your resolution like 3 days at home and 2 days at school.
Yep，
So 你们没有讲，你们只是说
我们没有
50%而已。
对啊，因为我们没有特别的硬性说我们一定是在家里，或是一定是在学校，因为不知道对方遇到的是什么啊。
So you didn't mention 5 days at school.
为啥一定要在学校？
没有，因为我的队友跟我说你们5天在学校啊。
啊，没说啊。Sorry。
OK， 哦，it's fine，因为我刚才就是好奇一点，就是说，因为我队友说5天在学校，那我就是好奇你们的那个 flexibility 到底怎么来？因为5天在学校，那你们就不会有 time management，还有那个 on pace，因为
自打
都在学校。
嘴巴，会自打嘴巴。
没事，已经 over，it's all over。I have another question is that why you didn't give the evidence about that the 40% hands-on experiences? Or you just deceive us, right? Deceive.
你们答对了，我其实还没有。
哦，
那你们最后一秒问我，还想说可以讲到自己，然后因为时间不够，所以没办法给。你还
This
在
is
抓
an
包？
excuse, sir.
没有，其实我们
Also, I want to mention that this debate will be recorded, so your 恶行 no all is recorded, huh?
Excuse me. Excuse me. Hello. Hello. 很忙。
Hey, hello.
Our teammates are all curious about how old are you? How old are you?
17.
What are you talking
17.
about?
It's too old or too.
No, you have to answer that we are the 高二生。哎，所以你们是高3哦，高3学长是吗？
高一。
我们看起来那么老吗？
哎，所以你们是 So you are the freshman.
哦。
你们是哪个学校的？
这能透露吗？
可以的，上次就有问了，上次7月就问。
Hello，我在讲好呀。
Pardon? Pardon?
Which school are you from?
Oh, this is we can't tell you because we debate this. We have to be anonymously to debate. But if you insist want to know which school we from, then I think we can exchange our like line or IG. Then after the debate, we can tell you in particular after the debate. But I have to say first that I only accept that 3 girls, not you, okay? I don't accept you, okay? Oh, just kidding, just kidding. Never mind, just kidding. Wait a second, wait a second. I write it down. Okay, thank you.
你刚来了吗？
我都开麦，你要北一女，他都听到了。
是哦，不是北一女的。
No. My another teammate said they want, yeah, first 那什么 first high
They want the
woman
girls
woman
IG, yes.
women's school.
是为了保气，叫一下吗？
除了去每个贴那留言。
I want to mention that my 老家 also in there. Oh, thank you. Oh, recap that another teammate say he wants the IG from Taipei First Girl High School. Oh, sorry.
Hello.
Hello.
All right, so we're waiting for that system to kick back everyone. All right, so we'll be very quick about it. We know there's 3 other rounds. So what you do right now is just like what you did when you were taking the high school entrance exam, when you were trying to get into high school, same thing. All right, you finish one subject, stop thinking about it, you think about the other 3. All right, it's the same thing. Good. All right. We're going to be mature high school students who understand the consequences of thinking about the previous test, okay? So we went through our results, and for this particular round, the pro side took over this debate, and we also understand two things. One, it's going to be a long day, and two, whatever we say right now cannot be directly integrated into the next round unless we keep it very short, which means each judge right now is going to give you only one piece of advice, only one piece of advice, all right, about what to do. Now, listen carefully to what I'm about to say. Again, I have said in all 3 regionals, and you've heard it before. I will say it again now because it's hard to remember stuff. What we say right now does not directly mean that we took points off or added points because you did this and that. We are trying to make sure that in the next round, when you meet a different set of judge, you will get as many points as you can. That's what we're trying to do, okay? It's always been like that. And it will never change unless I become, senile, which is a different situation. All right, so Ms. Hong, could you give the kids some comments? Just, one piece of advice, one. Like I said, in our breakout room, we said one, just one thing.
Okay, I really appreciate what your performance during the crossfire, because you can ask the specific right questions according to each side's contention or argument or statement, and you can clearly answer each other's questions. So I like what you performance during your crossfire, and I enjoy your debating. Thank you.
Okay, Diana, go ahead.
Okay, so first of all, congratulations to both sides. I think that was a really, really good round of debate. I enjoyed it a lot as well. My comment is, or my suggestion is that you should finish your points properly, finish your sentences properly. Okay, so to make sure that you get your message across successfully. So don't drop a point halfway through. Sometimes you may think, okay, so I mentioned it. Merely mentioning the subject is not enough. You have to make the connections. You have to clearly explain the reason why you bring out this point. Okay, so my suggestion is, when you are doing refutation, you point out your opponent's contention that you want to challenge, right? And then you can use evidence. If you have evidence with you, use evidence. Or if you are going to provide a logical inference on how they are wrong, you need to give clear examples or a clear scenario so that the judge can follow your, train of thought.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So when you go to the next one, this is something you definitely want to do when you are refuting. Okay, so that is my suggestion. I think if you can really do that, it will help your case enormously. All right, so good luck.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Diana and Ms. Hong. I'll add on to that. What Diana was trying to tell you guys is that if you make a point, make sure the point has been clearly made. What that means is, I will elaborate a little bit with analogies. If you know this thing called fencing, which is like 西洋剑, what the problem with it is that they do a little, the blade or the sword hits the opponent, and then it's like ding, 1 point. But then, like for us, it has to go a little bit more than just a little tap on the shoulder. It's more like kendo, where you actually have to hit the person hard, and there will be bruises instead of just little like mosquito-sized bites. That's basically what we're saying, is that finish the train of thought. Second thing is, I understand that debate is a very small niche, very small. And so it's hard for old habits to go away, but also remember that being a diplomat or an ambassador is different from being a debater. Being a debater means that we have our country or nation on the line in domestics. And if we don't fix this, ambassadors outside are not able to do their job because we don't have the strong domestic environment. That also means that the lofty and indirect accusations that ambassadors sometimes do not hold in debate, because in this kind of debate, we are asking for clarity. We're asking for directness. So things of such have to be taken into account. Do not accuse your opponent of not listening to you unless they really are not listening. Because if they really weren't listening, then it's good to point out. But if it's just because they didn't entirely understand what you said, you should just clarify in your rebuttal speech or summary somewhere else. Just be professional about it. We're trying to fix whatever stuff we have in the future. All right. And in the future, if you do become a politician or legislator, we would hope that you have that in your mind. And this is important training right now, because if you don't have that training right now in your heart, you will ultimately become just as the people that you did not like when you were in high school. Okay. So that's just something that I wanted to remind you. Overall, good job. I want you to go and take a break. All right. Thank you. And we will come back again soon. If you too, Conside, if you did not eat breakfast, you must eat right now, because ProSide has finished eating breakfast already. All right. I made Pro 2 eat his breakfast just a while ago. All right, go ahead. You guys go out and then, come back to your other rooms when you have to. Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you.